Hi, this is Scott Ford from MrFordsClass.net, and welcome to a very special Monday Mailbag. In this video, I want to talk about how to keep your children safe. Before we get into the meat of what this video is going to cover, I want to give a little background into why I decided to make a video specifically about this topic. I have two children who are in 3rd grade and 1st grade, and school up here in Northern Virginia, Fairfax area, just started recently. And the very first day of school, I am teaching my anatomy class at Nova College up here in North Virginia, and my wife is at her school, and I get a phone call from our after-school care that said that my youngest son, my 1st grader, was not put on the right bus. And so mild panic set in as we were playing phone tag trying to find out where my son was. Well, luckily the bus driver was very good and knew that he did not belong getting off the bus, and so brought him back to school. Long story short, everything worked out great. But what wound up happening afterwards kind of made me think about doing this video, and that was I was talking to my class of college students, various ages, and I asked, what would happen or what should a child do if a child was ever trying to be taken away by an adult? What should the child yell? What should the child scream? And I was surprised at how many wrong answers there were. A lot of people think that a child should yell, "Help." And that's the wrong answer. Just think about this for a second. Think about how many times at a playground, at a theme park, at a retail store, at a mall, you hear children yelling and screaming, "Help." They're playing, they're goofing around. We kind of tune that out. A child needs to yell, to scream until their lungs hurt, stranger or stranger danger, something along those lines. They need to make it very clear that the person who's trying to take the child is not a friend or family member. And as an adult, when you hear a child screaming stranger while somebody's holding them, you are going to go and focus on them and know that that adult and that child don't belong together. Now, if the child is crying wolf, then the parent can deal with the child later on. But as an adult, we know that there is something going wrong here, and now the adult has to prove that those two belong together. So again, with your child, have them know to scream, to yell, stranger or stranger danger, or something along those lines to make it clear that the adult that is taking the child does not belong to the child. The second thing that I want to talk about really briefly, I want to keep this video very short because this needs to be shared. You need to share this video with other parents, other adults out there. This needs to get out there because the difference is somebody having a okay day versus a life-changing day, and we're not talking about the good way. So the second thing I want to talk about is what to do if the child becomes separated in a store, in a mall, what have you, in some public area. The last thing you want to do is have the child looking around aimlessly, looking confused, looking scared. There's a lot of good people in this world, but there are a few really bad eggs out there who will look at a child in a panic and see victim. Okay? So we want to make sure that the child doesn't have that written all over them. So you need to tell your child that if they get separated from the adult they're supposed to be with, the parent, the guardian, what have you, that they need to go and look for a store employee who might have a name badge or something along that lines that identifies them as working there. Also at, let's say, call this a tier 1 level, they need to look for somebody in emergency services. So for example, a police officer in uniform, or a fireman or firewoman in uniform, or an EMT. Those are the people on the ambulances in uniform. Obviously, if they're not in uniform, your child won't know. But they need to look for a store employee, or a fireman, or a policeman, or an EMT, somebody along those lines. If they can't find that person, then the second tier would be a woman with small children or a small child. So you're looking for a mother with young children. That's a safer bet than just grabbing somebody at random. The third tier, and this is gender biased, but I'm a guy and it is what it is. The third group is a male with a small child or small children. So once again, the child needs to look for a store employee, a fireman, a policeman, an EMT. If they can't find one of those, fairly quickly, then they need to look for a female with a small child or small children, followed by a male with a small child or small children. Obviously, if there's a family there with young children, that would be perfect. It's not enough just to go over this with your child. In schools, it's not like they say, in case of a fire, do this. They have drills because they need to make sure that children know how to do this without a second thought. This becomes ingrained second nature, and you want the child to do the same. So the next time you go to a big box store, retail store, large area, public area, you need to stop for a minute, get down to eye level, on your knees with the child, and say, if you were separated from mommy and daddy or from me or what have you, who would you go and ask for help? And have the child identify right there and then who they would go and seek help from. You need to practice this. The child needs to know that when they're separated, if they're separated, who to go look for, not just in theory, but also in practice. So once again, a quick summary. 1, children need to learn to yell or scream stranger or stranger danger. They need to identify that the adult does not belong with that child. 2, if they get separated in the store or a movie theater, that's kind of hard to do, or a theme park or some large public area or even small public area, they need to look for a Tier 1 person who works there, police officer, fireman, EMT. Tier 2, female with small child or small children. Tier 3, male with a small child or small children. Of course, family is good too, and you need to practice this. All right, that's going to conclude this video. Again, if you have watched this, if somebody sent you a link to this, you need to share this with other people. Again, this can make the difference between somebody having a mildly startling day versus having, again, a life-changing event that, again, is not for the best. We do Monday mailbags every Monday-ish. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at mrford@mrfordsclass.com. We also have a Facebook page out there for your questions. Until later, have a great day.